Brackenhall was built in 1939. In those days, it was the largest estate in Huddersfield with over 1,000 new houses being built. This created a bedrock of residents who loved their homes.
Been up here 51 years. There's a very good community spirit. There's all sorts going on. We've got a very good Tenants and Residents Association, a good community centre and church at the top of Long Hill Road, where we've got 100 young people going through the doors every week.
The church Margaret mentioned was the first church to be built on any estate in the whole of Huddersfield. Brackenhall was thriving. All the properties were full. But as all good things come to an end, same for Brackenhall, trouble was soon to follow.
Some of the sites have had riots, 1980s, and they blamed it on the black and white communities after Brixton in the 70s and 80s. They blamed us. They blamed the blacks and the whites for it, and it wasn't. It turned out just to be a couple of people that lived on the estate that started it.
The riots damaged the reputation of Brackenhall immensely. The stigma stuck to the area like glue, and over the years, Brackenhall went into decline. This forced the council to use drastic measures in an attempt to save the area. This saw the birth of a new project. This project was called the DBI.
The DBI, the Deaton and Brackenhall Initiative, started in 1998. In 98 we had huge problems in Brackenhall in terms of letting properties. We recognised that there was not going to be any easy solutions to this, and so we took the radical decision to start getting the private sector involved.
Bringing in the private sector showed that the council were willing to take drastic and unique measures in an attempt to save Brackenhall. The two private companies in question were Southdale Homes and Oakapple. Each company had to present the council with a plan of how they saw the future of Brackenhall. The council then called a meeting with all the residents on the estate. This gave the residents the opportunity to vote for either project. Southdale Homes were in favour of maximum demolition and using private housing, whereas Oakapple wanted limited demolition and then the houses would be returned to social housing.
The majority of people wanted to go with Oakapple, obviously for obvious reasons, social housing.
Most of the residents were in favour of Oakapple. This is because most of them couldn't afford a brand new house. With Oakapple, they could move back into their old homes once they had been refurbished.
When the results of that consultation day came out, we were told that it was around about 80% in favour of Southdale Homes. We couldn't prove it, but we knew that it was totally wrong.
That meant that a lot of properties were going to have to get demolished and we'd have to rehouse the people.
The residents were promised regular consultation to any changes in the plan, no matter how minute these were. The council promised to listen to the residents in an attempt to build a bright future for Brackenhall.
We listened to them and we changed the plans and reduced the numbers of properties that we were going to demolish for people.
From July, the meeting in July, to a meeting in October, it had gone up from 150 to 400, and then it shot up to 600 houses, without any consultation at all.
So we have conflicting views on this one. The council claimed to reduce the number of properties to demolition, while Margaret claims they increased. The residents wanted Oakapple to develop the estate, but Southdale Homes won the vote. Seems to be a pattern emerging here.
What we didn't do was say, no, we're not going to knock any properties down. That's what a lot of people wanted. They didn't want any properties knocking down at all. They just wanted somehow the council to come up with a load of money to transform the area. Well, that wasn't ever going to happen.
They basically turned around and told people, you've two options. You either move of your own accord when the time comes, or we evict you. And you're talking people that's been up since they were built. You're talking 80, 90-year-olds being told. And we were absolutely furious.
Margaret Lees then helped to form the Brackenhall Community Action Group. This group would be at the forefront of a campaign to save the Brackenhall estate. The first thing they did was go around the estate and find out just how many people wanted to stay.
We can prove to the council that they say there was approximately 55% of people wanted to stay, and we can prove it was over 70.
So the council said only 55% of people wanted to stay. But is this true?
We employed a firm to do a face-to-face survey of about 500 or 600 residents out of the 1,000 people in the area. 65% of the people said you need to knock a lot of houses down on Brackenhall. 65% of people said that. That's from their own mouths.
65% of people wanted change according to the council, but Margaret says that 70% of people wanted to stay, and looking at this petition, it's hard to argue with her. So how did the council respond to this?
We were basically told that we'd fabricated it all, that we were liars.
65%, 65%, 65%.
But we knew we hadn't, and we got signatures and things to prove it.
So the petition fell on deaf ears. The council, in Margaret's eyes, seemed unwilling to believe the petition she had produced, even though she went round every single resident. So what was next to try and convince the council?
We had a protest walk from here into the town centre, which was about over 100 people walked it, including one lady who was 89.
Once again, this fell on deaf ears, and the council board voted unanimously in favour of demolition. The homes at Brackenhall would be coming down to make way for private housing. But why was demolition the only way forward?
What demolition did was released a huge amount of land, and what the builders saw was, if we, the council, can move people out and release the land, they'll give a lot of money for that land, and then that money that they gave us is getting reinvested elsewhere within the DBI area. And we're currently looking at £7.5 million that's being reinvested that we would have never ever got.
I think they wiped their hands of us because they wanted to make their books look good. If you save an estate of 1,250 people, of which say 750 are empty houses, that doesn't look good on you. But I still maintain a lot of that were done for their benefit, not ours.
Wait a minute, Margaret. You can't say something like that. What did Peter Beck just say?
£7.5 million. £7.5 million. £7.5 million.
So let's prove Margaret wrong and show these investments. We asked Rachel Powell, who has been at Brackenhall for 45 years, and she is also the secretary at the Residents and Tenants Association. What has this £7 million been used for?
Done those sort of porches, forgotten what they call them now.
Wait a minute. This thing here is what people have got for £7.5 million. £7.5 million? Okay, let's try and figure this one out in his heads. Let's put an exaggerated amount on each porch. Let's say each porch costs, let's call it £1,000. Now we'll take this £1,000 and times it by the number of houses on the estate. So that'll be 1,000 times 400, which is £400,000. Now we'll take this £400,000 away from £7.5 million, and that leaves you with an absolutely whopping £7.1 million. So where's this £7.1 million gone to? It could have been siphoned off into other parts of the council to balance the council's books, but what it does look like, after all this upheaval, all this protesting, all these arguments, it looks like the residents have been left shortchanged.